Today we're going to piggyback a little bit on what I was talking about yesterday, foreclosures. But this is a little bit different angle because a foreclosure, it's the bank that has the ultimate decision-making ability when it comes to the home, or at least what it's going to sell for. But when you're not dealing with the bank, when you're dealing with an individual, it's a lot different. Please remember, banks don't take things emotionally, individuals do. And as I said earlier, when you're presented an offer, especially to the individual, you really need to put your seller hat on and just to get an idea on what the seller's thinking of. And of course, when I deal with sellers, I tell them the same thing. A lot of sellers will really get emotional and they'll start getting really choked up because they have a home for $300,000 and someone really gives them a low price, and they'll get usually they'll be a little surprised, then they'll start to be mad, then they'll get a little depressed. It's a lot of emotions that go through. I've had a lot of sellers actually, they get an offer and they start crying. So you have to, you sort of have to keep in mind. And I know you might be saying, well, who cares if the seller cries? That's not my problem. Well, you're right. Directly it's not, but indirectly people make decisions, financial and otherwise, based off of their emotions, not always logic. So keep that in mind when you are presenting an offer. The first thing, as I've stated a few times, is it all really starts with the agent. Get an agent who knows what they're doing. If not, try to interview some and really see. But the first thing I would say is, you're the agent. What you need to do is you need to find out a little bit more about the situation. Who's the one that's controlling this? Is a bank controlling the decision-making ability? Is the homeowner controlling the decision-making ability? How long's the owner been in there? What's owed in the property? Now, don't put too much in what's been owed in the property, because really whatever they paid really doesn't have a lot of bearing on it. It's more their situation than how much they owe on it. I would much rather deal with the seller that needs to sell right now, that owes money on the property, than someone who owns absolutely nothing on the property and really isn't in that big of a hurry to sell it. So it's more the situation. The agent should be trying to get the situation and find out a little bit more. Some listing agents out there, when you start asking questions, they just sing like a canary bird. They'll tell you everything that they know from the time they met the seller all the way up into the last conversation they had. Of course, you have other ones that do what they should be doing, not saying anything at all, but that's generally not the case. So first thing is to go ahead and get the situation. Second is try to, what you want to try to do is you really want to try to put something together. You don't want to just completely kick the seller in the gut and present an offer that you absolutely know is going to be rejected. Because the seller, like I said, they're going to think emotionally, and I've actually had a lot of sellers out there just say, forget it, I'm rejecting the offer, and they won't even have anything to do. So you don't want to do that. You want to really find out where the fine line is. You don't have to get a lot of documentation, but it still is very important, because as the rule of thumb goes, people ultimately should, I say, make decisions logically, not based on emotion. And what I try to do is I try to put together documentation between myself and the buyer. Remember, you have to work as a team with your real estate agent. I always let the buyers know, look, we're in a team. I want to get you the lowest price possible. The reason why I want to do that, one, that's what you want. Two, it's just going to be a lot easier if I have to come over and resell the home a year or 2 or 5 years later when you have a ton of built-in equity on it. So you really want to get together and you want to work as a team and put together something that's going to be a good offer. When I say good, I don't mean high. I mean something that's, you put your documentation together. And what I do is I present that to the other side and I let them know, look, the bottom line is this is not where the seller wants to be. We know that, but this is the market we're in. 1 in the hand's as good as 2 in the bush. And then what I do is I throw in a pre-approval letter. You're going to want to get pre-approved for a mortgage. This is so important, I can't tell you. The National Association of Realtors does studies every single year. The difference between someone who is pre-approved and pre-qualified for the mortgage is anywhere from a 3 to a 6% better deal on the price of the home. because sellers want to know. I mean, they don't care what you offer when you want to close if they don't think you could buy. And then what I do is I go one step further. I have my mortgage banker actually call, or the buyer's mortgage banker actually call the listing agent and let them know how qualified the buyer is, because the agent's going to pass everything on to the seller. So a lot of agents, and I've had a lot of agents over the years, I mean dozens upon dozens, what they do is they don't present the offer at all. They basically go out, they look at the property with the buyer, they write the contract up, they fax it over to my office. I don't even know they faxed it over. And then all of a sudden they call me a day or two later, did you get the offer? I never heard from you on it. And that really isn't doing the buyer any good. You have to have an agent that knows what they're doing, who actually presents the offer and who knows how to present the offer. Because keep in mind, I mean, I've had situations out there where I have literally saved people tens of thousands of dollars, and I've had agents tell me, we had another offer higher on this property, but we're accepting yours because you've either presented more proof to it or your buyer's more qualified. And I don't like losing situations when it comes into presenting an offer. So I would say do your homework, make sure you get a pre-approval letter in, have your lender call the listing agent, and follow up and try to get as much information on that property, about that buyer, about the situation as you possibly can, and I guarantee you will get the best deal. If you go in and you just sling mud against the wall, the chances are that you're not going to get the best deal, and I've seen it happen hundreds and hundreds of times being in the business so long. So I hope this helps you. You have a wonderful day.